Hey guys, welcome to another episode of We Understand It Now by Go Real Estate Group. It's Ahmed Omar here, joined by our newest, latest agent, Jawad Karim. How are you, Jawad?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Jawad,
Blessed.
first of all, what made you choose Go Real Estate Group?
I heard about you.
Oh,
All
yeah?
good things. All
All
good
good
things.
things?
No, it's exciting to see the work you guys have been doing, breaking into the market, the portfolio you manage, and meeting everybody I met with Go Real Estate Group carried the same culture, the same brand, the same positivity. It was very inviting, and I just wanted to be part of that space. So I'm excited to contribute and help us go forward.
I think we're excited to have you part of the family.
Thank you.
And to assist and help Go Real Estate Group become a mega player within the market. Not only in the DFW Dallas market, but in the Texas market
Let's go
as
big.
well.
Go big. Everything's bigger in Texas, I
So,
heard.
Joel, what do you specialize in?
We're not on PBS. I need to
Yeah.
I'm going to sleep.
Okay.
Start up really high, then like within 5
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I forgot my question. What did I ask you?
Specialization.
What's your specializations, Joel?
Well, I've been in residential real estate for about 10 years.
Okay.
In Seattle and then 3 years in Dallas. I'm still licensed in both markets. So
Fantastic,
help
yeah.
families moving across the country. It's been awesome to be part of both sides of the journey. But another reason I'm at Go is because I've had my first few breaks in commercial real estate since moving to Texas. And I intend to continue on that growth trajectory. It's very exciting. And from what I've heard and what I've seen, nobody does it better than Go Real Estate Group.
I think what's fantastic within Go is, unlike other brokerages within Texas, we offer full residential, commercial, property management, and a whole wealth management aspect to the brokerage, which makes us more family office type environment than the brokerage itself. So that having you as an asset within that is pretty amazing. Tell me, between the Seattle market and the Dallas market, what are the main differences that you find?
The Dallas market is vibrant. It's dynamic. It's growing. Seattle is very established. It's a great place. I love Seattle. It's beautiful, arguably the most beautiful place I've lived. But Dallas is breaking at the seams right now. And you're seeing not only the amount of development and growth, but how well it's being done. And I tell everybody, Dallas is almost like a masterclass of seeing all the major cities in the country, Chicago, Houston, LA, and they figured out how to do it right. The infrastructure is brilliant. They haven't lost the charm of what makes Dallas beautiful. It's very family oriented, very family friendly. It still feels like it has that Southern hospitality and that charm, but it's booming. Y'all Street is coming, so we're seeing investment grow here as well.
Yeah, I think Texas as a whole, there's a lot of investment being pushed within the Texas market. Texas, unlike other states in the United States, is a very capitalist intrinsic market where we allow businesses to grow, and the opportunities are here within Texas for that. Jawad, tell the people, tell our audience a little bit more about what made you go into real estate and choose this industry.
So I'll give thanks to one of my earliest mentors, Patrick Choi. He's still my designated broker up in Seattle as well at Inspire Realty. I was a sales manager at AT&T. So I did a lot of sales training and hiring for the corporate locations. And my last role there was as a district manager. I had about 15 doors across Seattle. So working with franchisees, everything from acquiring the location where they were setting up a franchise location to staffing it, building those sales processes and systems. And once my time at AT&T had come to pass, I connected with a few of my colleagues and mentors that were already in the real estate space. It was exciting. So that's when I got licensed. And my first work in real estate before having a lot of transactions and growing my business as a whole was a lot of consulting. So I was a consultant at Zillow and a few other companies like Side, where I was essentially a brokerage builder. So when brokers like yourself were in expansion mode and they wanted to recruit more agents and build sales processes and have operational rigor, then I would come in and help build that blueprint and then execute the plan. So I feel that real estate is arguably the most competitive sales market to be in, the sales industry to be in, and it's exciting to succeed in this role.
I think that is why it's such a pleasure having you on board, part of the family, part of the team, because we are rapidly growing Go Real Estate Group. We want it to become the largest brokerage within Texas within the next few years. And having you at the helm here to assist us with that is essential.
I'm excited. I'm here for it. Thank you for
Fantastic.
having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Jawad, let's talk more about the Texas market right now and see what's going on. You mainly concentrate on the residential side. What are your feelings, thoughts? What's the sentiment around with your clients currently? What are you seeing going on the residential side here?
So over the last year or two, I'd say that you're having more realistic conversations with clients where there's less fear, but there's still uncertainty. And there's a difference between the two. Fear, there's no action being done. Uncertainty means you're ready to make a move, but you're not sure which move is right. And I believe we've shifted, and I take that as a positive shift because then it allows us as professionals to do what we're paid to do, is be their advisor and be their guide through the process. So I have more and more clients that are willing to have that conversation. I think now the next step is to make sure that we're not only good at what we do by results, but we're becoming knowledge brokers and we're sharing the correct information and advising them on how to best make the next move for themselves.
Okay, knowing that inventory is at a very high level right now within the DFW market, what we're talking about, 53% up at the moment.
Yeah.
What are your feelings and your thoughts on the market now that it's more of a buyer's market? How are we advising our sellers how to list their homes, how to get the best price for their homes? What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
My first reaction is I believe now we're definitely in a market where only the best will prevail. The best of the best will survive. And we're seeing that, fortunate for some, unfortunate for others, a lot of agents that are exiting the market because it's not just unlocking doors and making transactions happen. You have to be a specialist in this market. So with the inventory levels, it's the most we've seen, I think, in about 5 years.
Yes.
So I see that as a shift over to a more neutral market where it's not as much of a seller's market as it was, say, a year or two ago. But then the question that comes to mind that I'd love your opinion on as well is, why aren't we seeing so many more transactions? So we have a lot of inventory, but there's still some hesitation in the market, if you know what I mean.
Of course. So the hesitation comes from the broader economic situation within the United States right now. With the new administration's tariffs that they have placed on, there is this uncertainty in a market that people are a bit wary on listing their homes, on even buyers buying homes and so on. So people are worried about interest rates coming down, going up. Although we've seen mortgage rates at the lowest for the year at the moment. But again, you got sellers, remember, that have purchased homes 4 or 5 years ago at 2-3% interest rates. Do you really want to sell your home today and go into a 6% interest rate? So you have this play where some people want to sell, some people don't want to sell. It depends on the situation. You're still having this influx of New Yorkers and Californians and people moving into the state because of the development, because of the opportunities within the state. But the inventory levels, I think, there's been a slowdown, of course, of this migration coming into Texas. Again, it comes to this broader economic situation that we have within the market, within the United States, and I think the world as a whole. Right. Because not only is the United States posing tariffs on other countries, I just read an article last night where there's over 100 countries that have posed tariffs on the United States. People don't talk about that. Right. So it's
causing a choke.
It's causing a choke.
Ways.
Yeah. So we're having, and on top of that, we're having conflict around the world. So that doesn't assist with the economic situation as well. So people are wary, people are saving money. I mean, you look at Warren Buffett right now. Warren Buffett is very cash flush. Berkshire Hathaway, very wary of what he's doing. He's sold so many $1 billion worth of his Bank of America stocks and his Capital One stocks and so on, just to hold on to cash. See what is the next best play. People are very wary right now. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. And that's where I guess what I would be curious to know from your perspective is, do you see the change in how wealth is being moved or how investments are being made across the country, internationally, or within Texas to be at different levels? Because I would imagine if you're already in this market, it might be a safer play to move your investments around in a smaller arena rather than taking a long shot cross country, for example.
Okay, so with the knowledge that I have, because we do a lot of cross-border transactions, we're dealing with the UK, we're dealing with Turkey, we're dealing with South Africa, Mauritius, whether it be Cayman Islands, the Far East, and so on, there is still a lot of money being pushed within the US because US is known as a stable market, similar to the UK. Whether the economies are doing well or not, there's still stability within your investment. So a lot of people are still dumping money, especially in Texas. Right? Why in Texas? Texas is a one tax state. Right? You only pay federal taxes. You don't pay state taxes. And that's it's a good segue to why in November we're hoping Greg Abbott signs in this bill where we get this massive property tax cuts on across the board. What, 51 billion in property tax cuts? That was a big issue for Californians moving into Texas. The big argument at one stage was, oh yeah, property prices in Texas are much lower than in California, but your property taxes are so much higher. Whilst now, if he signs this bill in November, it's going to change the play. Saying, no, now we do have property tax cuts coming.
Yes.
Also, we were discussing about the vouchers on the ISD side, right?
Yes.
So independent school district side, where the state, are giving vouchers to I think it's coming federally, not only from Texas, federally to each household, depending on your income level, to allow you to choose where your kids want to go, whether it be private schools, public schools, or so on.
Right.
So I think all that is affecting what's going to happen.
That's awesome. And the two points I take from that, if I'm communicating this to my clients now, is number one, the change in taxes is not uncertainty. If anything, it's driving more predictability.
For sure.
So that's a positive sign. And then when you talk about the global arena, and by the way, that's another reason why I'm at Go, is because you see through a lens that I don't have access to, and I hope to benefit from you on that, is that internally we may see a lot of uncertainty, but when you look at it from a global lens, the US market, Texas in particular, is still very stable relative to the global arena.
Of course, you look at Texas alone, if it stands alone as its own country, is the seventh largest economic base, GDP-wise, in the world. So if Texas had to isolate itself from America, we will be the seventh most productive country in the world, whilst California is third. But we are on the growth trajectory to surpass California by 2035. So imagine that. Texas.
That's
could
why you don't
be,
mess with Texas, right?
Yeah,
there.
that's why you don't make things are bigger. Things. I mean, we have a robust market here, and now with OpenAI's massive infrastructure project that they're taking on in Abilene, Texas, right now, $100 billion in AI infrastructure. It's the largest of its kind ever in the United States. Now, we've purchased commercial property in Abilene from 2018. So it was a play, not knowing that OpenAI was going to come there right now.
Yeah.
But Go Real Estate already had the vision to see that this was going to happen.
You see, there's common nomenclature in the real estate industry where they say nobody has a crystal ball, so you can't predict interest rates. I think you have a crystal ball hidden somewhere in here, because when I found out you had a small portfolio in Abilene, and then the announcement came up for the OpenAI infrastructure going in, I thought that is some foresight. That's exciting. That's exciting to hear.
It is exciting. And you're always looking at markets, especially on the commercial side, because I can speak a lot on the commercial side, is that you're looking at markets where there is a massive GDP and economic growth within the market. So we own a shopping center as well down in Killeen, Texas. Killeen, Texas is home to the second largest military base, U.S. military base in the world, Fort Hood.
Yes.
Right? At any given time, between Belton, Killeen, and the surrounding cities around Austin, you got $5 billion a year of GDP that flows through those three cities, just because of Fort Hood, which is
awesome.
absolutely amazing. So you're looking at opportunities in places where you're going to see these growths.
Yeah.
Another great place to look at growths are on the southern border cities of Texas to Mexico. That's where Elon Musk is building his Tesla mega factory. And that's where the only home that Elon Musk owns by himself, on his own name, is a $350,000 home at the bottom of Texas.
Wow.
That's the only home he owns. Yeah. So coming back to another segue of celebrities moving into Texas. We're seeing a massive influx of celebrities.
Yep.
Building homes, moving into Texas. You know what was really sad? Just off that is our Luka Doncic. Before his move to the Lakers, he was under contract with a massive home in Texas just the day before he got traded.
Was that through Go Real Estate Group as well, or we didn't get that one?
No, we didn't get that one. But it was really sad to see that our best player at the time, the day before he got traded, was under contract with a big home in Texas. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is then he'll still have a place to call home in Texas. So
I hope he still buys a home.
Maybe he buys a home and he'll come back.
Yeah.
I did hear though. I heard Anthony Davis is still home shopping. So maybe we can find a way to have him come visit us at Go Real Estate Group and buy his Texas home. Come on down.
Talking about the NFL stars, I know you were at Monument Realty.
Yeah.
Monument Realty is the realty for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
How does that work when it comes to servicing these superstars?
Yeah. So Dak Prescott had an office in the Monument Realty headquarter office in Frisco. So that was exciting. And he'd stop by. But being in that building, what I can say is, if nothing else, it teaches you to elevate your brand. And that's something that, well, number one, I've already recognized that Go Real Estate Group, right? There's no knock here, is that you guys carry your flag correctly, and you definitely have a culture that you're portraying through every individual that comes into this building. Now, what I would hope to do is bring that experience that I have with Monument Realty, being the official partner of the Dallas Cowboys. What does that look like from a branding perspective, for marketing, for leveraging the network that you have in your community? And that's something that you've already done well, and I believe we can do at scale here. And that's something we intend to do, is being a source of knowledge for our clients, being a service provider for our entire community, and making sure that we're carrying that energy with every transaction that we do.
And we have to do that. But it is also essential that Go Real Estate Group and its agents always have the latest up-to-date data to provide its clients at any given time.
Yes.
So we can advise them of the best next moves to do, whether it be an investment, whether it be the first home buy, whatever it might be in the market itself.
Right.
When you're talking about hidden gem suburbs in Texas right now, for me, in the DFW market, let's talk about DFW market right now. I'm looking at Prosper, Salina, I'm looking at the northern suburbs, whether it be Anna, Melissa, so on. Are you in the same sentiment? What do you feel? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I was actually surprised. I read an article about 2 weeks ago where they said Princeton had the largest population growth of any city.
For sure.
Definitely in Texas. I think it was top in the country as well.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, see, I bought my property in Frisco about 3 years ago. And I would not have imagined Princeton to see Princeton have this much growth within 3 years. And the fact that it's moved so rapidly is just a testament to how quickly the DFW area is growing. I definitely agree with you on that. I think you've got two different suburbs. I mean, let's stay the north side of the Dallas suburbs, right? There's surefire markets like Frisco, Prosper, McKinney. You can't really lose with how much is coming there.
Correct.
I'm sure it's exciting on the commercial side with Universal,
of course,
and
with
PGA.
Universal, the PGA, and so on.
So you can't really lose in those markets. But I think the adjacent suburbs are sometimes overlooked, and I think that's what you're referring to when you look at Little Elm, Princeton, Anna, Aubrey. As they're building 380 across that northern corridor there towards Denton, Aubrey becomes far more accessible than it's been ever before, right?
No,
it doesn't
of course.
seem as rural anymore.
Yeah. And now with the new big airport being built in McKinney.
Yes.
I mean, it's been a running airport for many years now.
Yeah.
We know that FedEx and DHL land a lot of the big planes out there. But this is going to really bring in a lot of development coming in all the way down to Greenville and Josephine and so on.
I was going to ask, do you have your eyes on any of those areas up north?
Yes, we do.
What are you scoping out?
Yeah, we have a lot of interest and some projects going on within that Greenville market near the new McKinney Airport here.
That's awesome.
So that'll be fantastic for us to look at. Yeah,
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Yeah, coming soon. I think Universal is going to be a big play for us.
Yeah.
And I think also next year's World Cup, the 2026 World Cup, especially for Dallas, is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Because Dallas, I think, is hosting 9 games.
Yep.
We've got a semi-final here. And most probably 2 of your largest teams, when I say largest, better known teams, maybe Italy or Brazil or France, they're going to base themselves in this Dallas market. The reason being, we have the Dallas Cowboys in Frisco.
Yep.
They have the whole training facilities up there. We have the FC Dallas Stadium up there.
Yep.
We just have the infrastructure to handle
Yes.
this World Cup soccer. I mean, I was in South Africa in 2010 when we hosted the World Cup. The World Cup was the most amazing event I've ever seen in my life. The amount of people arriving to one country to view soccer. I mean, soccer is the most viewed sport in the world.
Yes.
And people from all around the world and their cultures and just the happiness and it just brings, besides the money and the economy and everything, it just brings us togetherness, and we need this togetherness right now. So we just hoping that the borders are open for everybody to come and enjoy the 2026 World Cup in America with us. And I hope Go Real Estate Group is a big part of that, where we can strategically position ourselves to assist people finding, whether it be Airbnb homes or long-term rentals or whatever within that time as well.
I don't know too many people that can say they lived in the host city for a World Cup twice in their lifetime. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It is exciting for me. 2010 was absolutely amazing. I went to some amazing games. I don't know whether y'all watched the Champions League final the other day. It was Paris Saint-Germain against who was it? It was Inter Milan, right?
That was a big one.
And David Beckham and friends were there with Tom Brady and Tom Cruise and all of them. And Tom Brady himself, I captured a video of him saying that the atmosphere he saw in that stadium outpaced any atmosphere of any American sport he's ever seen.
That's amazing.
So it just shows you the power and the unity that sports has within that. Not only soccer, but sports has within that. Yeah.
Speaking of unity, it hit me the other day. I was reading an article on it. Did you know the next year is also going to be the 250th birthday for the United States of America?
Wow. That's amazing.
What a year to bring the world to the U.S.
That's fantastic.
It's going to be a true transcending experience to just open the borders for a positive cause and hopefully rectify some of these trade balances that we have going on and really invigorate the economy.
Sure. I think so. I think that'll be really amazing for the country on a whole. I think going out from there, what's your thoughts right now on people? Like, what are you advising your clients right now, whether to rent or buy homes? What's your feeling on that?
So it kind of tails off of that sense of pride and what we've been talking about being in the United States and being part of a strong economy. I know there's a lot of doubt there, but don't forget how blessed we are to have these decisions to make and choose the place that we call home. So at a more granular level, I feel like that's kind of a warm and a cold conversation, left side of the brain, right side of the brain. And I think your reasoning has to be balanced between the principle, what you're looking at as far as your costs, and your purpose. Why are you buying the home? And no matter who says what or tries to predict interest rates and the right time to buy and how homes are going to be discounted or price reductions are going to happen, the why behind you buying a home, especially if it's your first home, especially if it's a home for your family and not an investment property, is it has to have a great amount of purpose that perseveres past 1 or 2 basis points. If interest rates are 6.1 or 6.5 or 6.9, that won't have as lasting of an impact as the place you lay your head to rest at night.
Yeah.
And that's the message I really want my clients to own, because if you're asking me if you should buy a home, no matter what the interest rates are or what the headline news says, there's thousands of families that you're going to be competing with that have a greater purpose than you. And it's going to be very difficult to win in that kind of a landscape. So I feel like if you align your purpose and then you work with the best that can do, there's the network that we offer, from lenders to people who can advise you on how to manage that wealth, I think you can make a strong decision. Now,
and this is where Go Real Estate Group comes in, where we can advise clients the best way we can with using the data that we have right now. Yeah.
So I'll parlay that back to you and say that's for the homeowner or the home seller who's selling from their pocket, right? How does that differ to an investor, for example? So if you have somebody that manages their portfolio or they're looking to expand that, how do you handle that conversation differently?
So right now, Go Real Estate Group we have positioned ourselves perfectly, especially on the wealth management side, to advise clients that if you have a residential portfolio of investments, right? If they are very old homes and they have a lot of deferred maintenance, is maybe we start selling off those homes and going into the commercial space, right? Retail space right now is at its highest peak ever in Texas. We're talking about 95% occupancy rates on retail space right now, right? It shows you how robust the market is on the commercial side. We're doing a lot of warehousing deals because the reason we're doing a lot of warehousing deals, lately we've had 2 massive clients come in from overseas. So the tariffs have played, it's a double-edged edged sword where yes, it has affected some of our pricings. We're going to see inflation grow and so on. But this has forced outside companies from Canada, companies from the Middle East, companies from the Far East. I mean, we have a client now from Uzbekistan. They are all looking now to move operations in the United States so that they can avoid the tariff situation. And we are actually, at Go Real Estate Group, we have been identified as a specialist to assist these clients, finding them warehouses, finding them factories, to start off their businesses and so on.
That's awesome to hear. It's awesome to hear positive news because I think we can fall victim to negative sentiment and not realizing that there is an opportunity to be had here.
Exactly.
And it's creating strength from within, if nothing else, I would say is even better.
Exactly. So I think it's also vision on these clients' part, especially the guys that are overseas, that mainly do work or supply American companies, like say one of our clients only supplying Raytheon or Lockheed Martin or so on, one of these companies, to move their businesses to Texas because it makes sense. You only supplying American companies, move your businesses to America. Texas is the best place to do it. And you avoid the tariffs and you can supply your companies, your customers that you have. So we are assisting people with that, finding them opportunity zones, finding them free tax zones to put up their factories. We do have all these abilities in Texas.
That's awesome.
And Go Real Estate Group, again, has the expertise to assist clients with all of this.
Brilliant. I love
So it's fantastic.
I love it.
Top 5 Dallas suburbs right now, zip codes that you would, if I had to come in as a new buyer, Jawad, I'm your new residential buyer. I'm coming in. I'm moving in from Seattle.
Yeah.
What's the top 5 suburbs you'll push me to?
Well, if I like you, it's Frisco and Prosper because then we'd live nearby.
Yeah.
No, I was just joking. I think you've got your surefire markets, Frisco, Prosper, Salina, where you've got that corridor. As DNT is built up north, you're just going to see more and more outlets. And then from a residential space, a lot of development happening. From a commercial side, one of the telltale signs I look for, and I had this light bulb, this moment happen about 6 months ago. I was driving up to Pilot Point to go visit my good friend CJ. Shout out to Yerby's Barbecue. If you haven't had it, drive up to Pilot Point. It's 30 to 40 minutes at the most. It's a beautiful drive. You go by the Glendenning Ranch and you really get that true essence of a little bit of Texas Hill Country. We timed it perfectly. The blue bonnets had just bloomed. So we're driving up there and I come to an intersection and it says Outer Loop.
Right.
I said, I've heard of this. And Outer Loop, I believe, is going to connect Salina all the way around to Flower Mound and kind of connect the Metroplex so you don't have to drive straight down 75 or DNT to get to the city, but it's going to connect the peripherals. So go through Rockwall.
So it's like the 12 or the 635.
Exactly. So it's the next band that's being built, almost like a tree trunk where people they'll be able to tell how old Dallas is by the highway system, like a tree trunk. So I see the Outer Loop intersection. I said, okay, the sign is up officially. That's interesting. And then I went again because I go to this barbecue place a lot, as you can tell. The next time I went, about a month later, they were building a UT Southwestern hospital up there. I said, okay, the infrastructure is coming. And then a few months later, right around the winter, I went again. And by then there were 3 or 4 developers that had started building homes. And I said, wow, it's almost like you can pin it. So for anybody moving to the area, my advice is start looking at where these roadways are going to go, where the infrastructure is coming. And if you don't want to do that research, then they can connect with somebody at Go Real Estate Group. We're watching these markets as they develop.
sure, yeah.
So if you have somebody that says, I want to be in the center of it all, I want city living, we'll find you a spot in Addison. If you want to be city adjacent, but you want to be close to the airport, you want accessibility, Carrollton, Farmers Branch. I've had a lot of clients that have found those markets attractive for those very reasons. But if you want a little bit more elbow room, and you want the essence of Texas, and every once in a while you go to the grocery store and you see some Longhorns walking along the street side, you can go up to Prosper, go out east towards Saxe and Wiley. Those are all beautiful markets that are developing. You're seeing the infrastructure consistently being built out, and they're going to continue to develop. You know, one thing I tell clients is I can't find a blade of grass in the entire country, much less in Texas, that's worth less today than it was 10 years ago.
Of course, this is a perfect thing that you said, because if you look at the Texas A&M data, so they hold all the data for real estate in Texas. Over the last 50 years, just holding on piece of land has an appreciation of 6% year on year. Over
No
the
matter
last
what,
50 years.
no matter what the economic downturn is,
Doesn't
or
matter.
political,
Texas.
emotional, it's bulletproof.
It's
right?
bulletproof, exactly. And remember, God has stopped making land.
Yes,
So buy as much land as you can.
Mark Twain.
Right. Yes. Okay. Then let's talk about when we are negotiating now for home purchases. Right. We know it's a buyer's market right now. But what are you suggesting? How are you pointing your clients on when it comes to a multiple offer situation? What's your thoughts on that right now?
So it starts with instilling confidence in my ability to give them the right data.
Of course.
And I'm not shy to leverage our team and use the network of professionals that we have to make sure that we're putting the right numbers in front of the client so they can make an educated decision. And I'll be curious to hear how you handle on the commercial side. But when I'm advising a client, especially when they're buying their first home or selling their first home, it's very emotional. And their assets, I treat it as if it's a portfolio for a business, where they're cash on hand. If they're offering a concession on the seller side, how does that impact your bottom line? And that has to be well established. So the first rule of negotiation is you have to know the walkaway for your client, whether it's a buyer or a seller side.
Exactly.
I need to understand where you stand so that I can be in line with you and I'm your advocate, right? So navigating that conversation, I feel, has to be looked at as far as how are they managing their portfolio almost. Even though it's a family, they have to look at their cash on hand, what their proceeds are, what the taxes may be, and then make the educated decision on whether we should ask for a discount of the price of the home or ask for a concession, which will save you cash on hand.
But then what do you do right now when you got so many new home builders and developers coming in and they are giving concessions because they have to drop their prices compared to old homeowners that want to sell their homes that cannot give those concessions? Like last month, we sold a home where a home builder gave us our full commission plus $10,000 on top of it. Whilst an old home owner that's selling the home, maybe they can't afford it. So are you directing your clients towards new builds or older homes?
I'll direct them towards what feeds their needs, what caters to their needs. What I will say, and this actually recently happened because I had a client who was originally shopping just new construction. She ended up buying a home that was about 3 years old. The first owner was selling it. They were relocating to a different part of the state. And what I did was that advocacy that I talk about.
Okay, yeah.
So before giving up and before just throwing a number on a piece of paper and submitting an offer, which unfortunately we see a lot happen in this industry, I was leveraging my professional relationship with the listing agent. And I had a meeting with them. And I said, this is what my client is looking for. And I almost shopped the comps for her to show her, look, this is what my client who's looking to purchase this property is comparing your home to. Take this data back to your seller and let's see if we can find a way to negotiate. And we did. And they were able to essentially match the concession that was being offered by a builder.
For sure.
But if those conversations aren't happening, then we're doing ourselves, our clients, and our peers in this industry a disservice by not building those bridges and having those conversations so that we can all be more knowledgeable and advise our clients the right way.
You see, when you ask me more on the commercial side, commercial, unlike residential is a very emotional buy, right? It's your home, it's your homestead, it's a husband and wife trying to make a decision. Husband likes one thing, wife doesn't like another thing. It's you always have that headbutt. Commercial, which I love a lot because it's not emotional. It's
data-driven.
a business deal.
Yeah.
I need a warehouse for X. I need a retail center because I have $2 or $3 million to throw into that. It's purely business. It's purely, there's no emotions attached, nothing.
Here are the numbers, make it work.
Here are the numbers. This is the data. This is the best deal you're going to get. Let's go for it. And that's how it works. So it's very different compared to the residential side. Residential, we are trying to push our clients away from residential investments because unlike states like Ohio, for example, where you're getting $1 a square foot on rentals, Texas, because our home prices had escalated so massively, right, at such a high rate after COVID, the rentals never caught up. So you're still looking at about 50 to 60 cents a square foot of rental. So where you're going to get in Ohio maybe an 8-9% return, over here you're lucky if you're getting 5-6% return. So you rather go into a retail center, commercial retail center, than buy residential investments
that makes
at
sense.
the moment.
And I felt that in my first few commercial opportunities I've had since moving to Texas that I hope to collaborate with you on and do more of, where the initial conversation was from a residential client that I had that was then doing investment in residential that started parlaying with commercial, more of a restaurant or retail space. And they actually referred me to another client who's looking at opening up a restaurant in the Dallas area, specifically in the Plano area. And I felt that right away, that it was a much more objective conversation, which has its place. And you know, I definitely enjoy and I'm fulfilled by guiding families on their way home or selling their property. And it's something I've done for years. But there is something refreshing that's a little energetic about the commercial real estate space. So it's definitely something I hope to balance my business in as well and learn from you. On that note, why is it so hard to find a second-gen restaurant spot right now? I've been looking for months and I can't find one, which is a good thing for the business. But what tips would you have for somebody like myself that's breaking into the commercial space, or for your clients that are looking to expand their portfolio, how to find the best opportunities right when they hit the market or before they hit the market?
Right now, you see rental rates are very high on the retail side, right? And as I mentioned previously, you're talking about 95 to 96% occupancy rates on retail. So that is why you're finding difficulty on the second-gen restaurant space. But on the other hand, you're having IHOPs, you're having Red Lobsters, you're having these franchisees that are actually liquidating and going out of business and so on. So it's now picking up those, looking at those opportunities and trying to pick those up as second-gen restaurants. Sometimes they are too large for the clients that we have. You know, we're also seeing this massive trend where now generationally people want to stop drinking Starbucks. People understand what Starbucks stands for and so on. So people want to go more on your mom and pop side and your and drink more of your ethnic coffee and so
supporting
on.
Small
businesses and so on. And we remember right now we've seen this massive generational shift of wealth, right? The baby boomers are going to leave this next generation Z, Generation Z and the millennials and so on, with trillions and trillions of dollars. But now it's Go Real Estate's group for us to capture this and to advise these youngsters to place their monies in the best possible places for investment, where they can encourage and allow them to build generational wealth going forward. And Go Real Estate Group has positioned itself and is the best place for them to come to assist them with the structures going forward.
I believe it. That's why I'm here.